Welcome. I am Crimey Queen, and if you are joining us for the first time, it's the channel where we have fun with words and numbers, numerology to be precise. This is where we examine references from the Holy Bible of King James Version in particular. Well, it is not just particular, it's the one, our only Bible reference we use here. Okay, so why the King James Version? It's because it is a mathematical construct that is very much part of our making, our shaping, our environment and our thinking, because of course we think according to how we have been structured, where you think of what is around you, you think of things you have a sort of reference to. And so, yes, very much so. This is why it's the King James Version. So the King James Version, personally, was what shaped me. I was I was born a Catholic, and of course afterwards I became Seventh-day Adventist through my mother in particular. And then I was in Pentecostal church when I thought, okay, I really want to know God for myself. So that would have been in my mature stage, where you really feel there's more to life than just going to work and paying the bills and, cooking, etc. Until one day I actually said to my pastor, I'm going to leave the church. And she said, well, why? I remember you said that God led you to this place. And I says, well, now God is leading me out of this place. Now, that's the thing some people can't get. God led me in, but God can't let me out. That is why we are examining the word beginning. And to get a full flavor or full essence, we are hoping we can get a full understanding of the word beginning. I have attempted to do this a few times. So, wow. It's like going back to beginning and going out again. So it's now I've got to do out again, because I just did a presentation which is called the Unread Love Letter from Mother Eve. I ought to put Mother Eve really, but I did put from Eve. Okay, so the Unread Love Letter. And we were looking at, but it still goes into the beginning. It's still about the beginning. Mother Eve is just like that. She just goes in and out. There is not a structure that I have been used to in that way that I can just follow with Mother Eve, because she's doing a new thing. And that's what I keep remembering, or I ought to keep remembering, because wow, it's incredible, because that's what we are doing here. It's like each presentation is just opening my eye to the vastness of her wisdom. Well, I don't know if I can begin to get the vastness, but it's revealing more and more to me. So as I said in my presentation, which would be on, well, it's on the love letter as well, I believe, but Mother Eve had we keep going to the beginning, and I said I kept going to Genesis of chapter 1, and I kept going back. So there's a video that it's called keep going back. I kept going back, something to that effect, or keep going back to discover G7 in men, something to that effect, or how men became G7. So this, yeah, I kept going back to discover. I kept going back and reveal. No, it is the number 3, how 3 reveals the G7 in men. That's it. My memory is really good. Okay, so The deliciousness of three, the deliciousness of three reveals G7 in men. The deliciousness of three reveals G7 in men. That's the title. Okay, so there we are. This is where we see that we are meaning to get to. We are meaning to get to this point, and Mother Eve has been beckoning us to count backward. Wow, I hope I have not, I think I wiped it off. So to count backward, I remember, is that we need to be counting from 5, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In essence, we are going to have 10 numbers, and of course we have 5 on one end and 1 on the other end. If we add this together, that becomes the number of man. So basically, Mother Eve wants us to know that we are of 6 in our makeup, like I have discovered in Genesis of chapter 1, that we have. This is why it is said you are 6 is the number of man. This is why it is said 6 is the number of man. Is because man have in his makeup 6 man or 6 numbers. Now, of course, we see that is like in the word Genesis, which equals 33, but we also see that very going by the reference in the King James Bible, that one God, when God said, which is the God of words, the God of wisdom, the God of language, when she said, let us make man in our own image, no, in our image and likeness. Let us make man in our image after our likeness. Then it is said further on, and God created man in his own image and likeness. So we have seen. This is another thing we need to deconstruct the word seen, because we have S-I-N, S-I-N, S-C-E-N-E, S-C-E-E-N, E-E-N. So we have those scenes. We have, and that's the scenes we have, but they don't tell us that. That's the scenes we have. You were born in sin. You were born in sin. There was a visual aspect. You were born in a sin. There was a sin happening. You were born in sin. There was a beginning and an ending with the S, the serpent. So that's the sin, but we'll do that another time. So you are the number of man is 6, and we are talking about beginning. And here we have been looking at Mother Eve. This is actually called, actually going to call this the unread letter, the unread letter from Mother Eve. So the unread letter, the first one is the letter L. It's from the word let, where we have the first direct words from the scriptures of Genesis chapter 1 verse 3. So we can see we are dealing Genesis chapter 1 and verse 3 here. So where there is 3, there is 2. We could say that. Now, of course, as I say that, 3 is actually the W. W. It is the M. 3 is the M. It is E. It is 3. It is M. It is E. And it is W. So it is the 8-petal flower. Now, bear in mind, this 8-petal flower is where This is why it is said in Proverbs or Kings of Solomon, or one of those, or Ecclesiastics, where it says that man is like a flower that withers and dies and is no more. Man is like the 8-petal flower because he has to get to this 8-petal flower and to die of that 8, break off the chain like Mother Eve ate of the fruit. When you eat something, you mash it down to pieces, you digest every particles, you take what's good, you reject some, the body processes that which is eaten. I hope people get this. Thank you, Mother Eve. So basically, man is that flower. Man is 8, number 8. Number 8 is God. This is why Christ said, don't you know you are gods? Isn't it said in your book, you are gods? So God in that sense, in fact, it even said gods, meaning that there would be the S behind it. It's like the S is Mother Eve's signature. When we have the S behind a word, it's like her signature. When we have the S in front of the word, it's like her leading us. She is leading at that time. Like the Psalms, she is leading. She is like making her presence felt. So after the line and you have the S, then it's like she has reviewed what you have done and says, okay, that's the S. Because then that's what makes it plural. Because she has made her presence felt there in that I was going to say plurality, as if there is such a word. But in that plural aspect, okay, like a point. But then you say points, that means you have the ability, or you are making a reference of more than one, which means that more than one is like you have become whole. You have, it becomes 2 or whatever. Right. So the love letter, so I'm going to show you, yes. So the love letter, in case you're new to this channel, this is Mother Eve. This is the template to numerology. Of course, we have manipulated the formation or location in the columns accordingly to really get the flavor of numerology, but Mother Eve was really playing. That's Mother Eve. She was moving. Hence, we now know that sacrifice, the word sacrifice, really Mother Eve was there. That was, I kept saying this without really having made the association of the S, as Mother Eve. But when I looked at the story of Christ taught in the Bible, in the scriptures, it is a story of Mother Eve. It is the story of the set God. And didn't he do this sneaky thing, always talking in parables? That was really sneaky, always getting you to think about what he said, and which would have different layers. Of course, we are talking about layers, is that L letter that has been unread. The L is the letter that we have taken for granted. Hence, it is the word that expresses the love in the first letter of love. It's that which that denotes there is something beautiful about it. And so I have shown, before I go on, we see how the number 8 we are saying here, it's really about headquarters zone. It's really understanding you are number 6. It's going through the cycles on cycles to understand you are number 6. Sometimes we need to go through many more cycles, but this sets a pattern of 369, 369, 369, the functions of that which we go through. when you get to really know yourself, you get to understand in any given moment of your behaviors, where am I now making agreement? Where am I forming my bonds? In the sack. When you are in the sack is where you are forming agreements. And this is like where seeds are planted. This is where Christ was at the table with the 12 disciples and him being 13. This is where we hear about 13 being the number you should be scared of, really, because there was one member of that 13 who had given of himself to die, to go underground, to meaning go to hell, to find himself back to heaven, which is what Mother Eve is doing through me now, is that she keeps getting me to go back. Every time I'm trying to do beginning and to get to explain what beginning is, she's calling me back. She's calling me. It's like, I want you to get the seed of what being back is about. She's now, I can sense, getting me to go underground. And it's almost scary. It's almost scary, which is what I was saying in one of the presentations. I get the image of that I am being called to go into the womb and to come out again. Now, we could almost say that is like a out of body experience, which I have had, but I am now getting I'm getting that again. So then in the of course in the sack, to get out of the sack, because in the sack you are limited to how to your mode of movement. You would be going more in circles in the sack. You probably come out for breath and go back in the sack again. So basically it's like a child, for instance, being breastfed, and he's like, oh, he's on one breast and the next minute he's on the other, you know, he's like that. And it's like till he goes to sleep. He wakes up again, mother looks after him, and he goes into that mode. For a while, all he seemed to know is the breast and sleep. And if you're lucky, you get a smile, which takes you a mile. And hey, that is just wonderful. So the child smiles. The smile, as I say, is synonymous with miles. And that in itself is showing Mother Eve's ability with the S word for M-I-L-E-S, the S in front of, is telling us your smile can take you miles. And of course the serpent is able to travel miles. And that's another thing we see very evident with a mother and a child. So she's feeding the child and caring for the child, and of course she smiles. The child reciprocates the smile, or the child smiles, or what looks like a smile. It kind of looks like a smile to begin with, but mother is always smiling at the child or with the child. And that is the energy. Now that is the energy, that is the seed of growth. I don't know if we get the essence to what I'm saying. It actually equals 22 when you smile. But to have more, which is with having the S on both ends, of making it smiles, that would be directing your directly on the number 23. 23 would be 5. 2 plus 3 is 5. And you can see the 5 is directly in correlation with the word mouth. Mouth is directly, I would think, 23 as well, if not 32. So let's do mouth, M-O-U-T-H. So I'm writing mouth on Mother Eve's cheek. That's the thing, Mother Eve is so versatile, she's not too bothered here. So 6, and that is 10 here. So 2, 8 is 10, and here is 20. So it's 23. So smiles, this is the love letter here. I'm trying to recap on where I began with this, because I'm talking about the L. I was talking about the letter L, and that we were talking about the love letter. So there's the essence of L. This is where we are learning. This is where we are loving. This is where we are living. And so all this L is really, which of course have the pronunciation as E-L as well. So if we were to do that as the God of El, which I don't know too much about, but I know about Elohim, Elo, and all the L's, or Gabriel, or Michael, or Raphael. I know Raphael because he healed me. Okay. So we would have this as the numerical value of 8 right here. This would be 5, this would be 3. When we add this together is 8. Now I want to show you what I got from just the L itself. It's like L has the ability to spell itself. Okay, so I was looking at L in this sense, and what I saw, it has one motion, so you could say one motion, but it's got, in that one motion has 2 directions, so we have 2 here, which is direction. Direction is on lines, so I'll put direction here actually. So it's got 2 directions, and then it has 3 points. So we have 3 points here. I have done the numerical value for points here. So the numerical value for points just is 7, 6. This is 9, 4, 2, 1. So we add this way. I add like this. This is 15. This is 20. This is 29. I have 29 would be 11. Interesting. Oh no, I have here. Let's do this again. Let's do this again. So on points is 7, 6, 9, 5, 2, 1. Okay, hope you can see this. So here we have, okay, so this is 22, 27, 28, 29, 30. So I'm not sure why I've got so 30. All right, so that would be 3 points. I'll just double check that again, because 3 is also very good. So this is yeah, so this is 1, 2, 5, 9, 6, 7. So 7 plus 6 is 13. 13 plus 9 is 22, plus 7 is 20, plus 5 is 27, plus 3 is 30. That's correct. So points is 3. Now, of course, it's that's Mother Eve. That's how Mother Eve does that's how Mother Eve does her business. She really can tally things to the T, to the T. She really tallies things perfectly. So this is the 3rd point, and she is showing us her ability to tally. This is why we are talking about teller and letter and teller. Okay. Now the word lines, of course, we have direction. Direction sounds, it was an afterword, but it sounds really appropriate. We have in here, I am just encircling where we have in right here. Those 2 in, which is where our first word in the Bible says in the beginning. Okay, so back to here, we saw that 1, 2 directions, 2 and 3. So that gives us the number 6 when we add this up. So basically, L has 6 in it. Now, when Mother Eve is saying, let, she already has made a declaration of the design, of the makeup of mankind of having 6 in 1. So although the God of Creator, when doing whatever he did, but in essence, on that first order, where Mother Eve says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, the word El was already pronounced. It's as if to say, whenever you have uttered something, you cannot take it back. You cannot undo it. You can decide not to give it much energy, but it's already out there, because it's in and it's out. You are making an observation or a declaration or manifestation of that which is within, and then by saying it out, it is out. This is why it is so important that we choose our words very carefully. So so L is that love letter that had not been read, which reminds me, I think had not been read. Okay, and of course, with the L having the value of 6 in that sense, although it is free, because here we see of the 3 points, here, it has the value of 3. Now, I'm not saying that all the letters are really designed that way to be able, but we can find the correlation. So if I look at E, for instance, we could see E also have 5 points. So 1, 2, 3, and there's 4, 5. So it has got the value of 5 points. So I'm not sure if I can do all this with all the letters. Like, I'll just look at N. So N is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can't say that it's that way because N has 4 points. Okay. Right. Let's do this. Okay. So basically it's perhaps saying there are certain letters that are so concrete in themselves that they are just what they are. I'm just hoping I could see the time. All right. So L now as well has, it's also M, W, as we say, it is that letter, the unread letter. Let's look at the word read. Red is really 9. We see that red, and I'm using red pen, 9, 5, 4. But we are looking at, of course, the A. I know. The spirit of sound mind. That's why the serpent goes, you know, it creates a sound. That's why Mother Eve says, I have not given you the spirit of fear, but I have given you the spirit of sound mind. She is just wonderful. So red is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. So, of course, 3 3s are 9. That's it here. And if we also look at our EAD, of course, the A is 1. That would be 10. So 10 is, as I say, 10 is where mother and child is able to be identified. They are, you know, it's 10. 10. Oh, I'm already getting in tune because I'm writing backward. I'm writing 10 backward because Mother Eve has asked us to count backward. Oh, I hope she says, thou good and faithful servant, in you I am well pleased. Okay, so what more on this, Mother Eve, with this L? So we have seen the love letter. We were doing red, so red is really 10. The word red is 10. So it's the, oh, this is where we tie this in. So the word let is actually 10. Wow. So this is 3, and this is 5, and this is 2. when we add this together, 7 plus 3 is 10. So basically, the L in itself here already tells us that it has 10 in it. And there's what I was saying, the numbers that Mother Eve has given us to count back is 10 instead of 9. So we had 9 numbers, we had 9 letters, 9 numbers in the sacrifice template, and now it's like Mother Eve might get us to have to change this, and well, she's leading. So in the sacrifice template, now she's saying, I don't want you counting like 1 to go in this way. You need to begin here, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Was it no? She wants us to count 5, 9. So it would be 5, 9, 6, 7, 8. No, oh, I'll have to get it again. That's Mother Eve. And I heard her saying, stop tripping on your tongue, like she said to Moses. And, you know, take off your sandals because this is holy ground. It's like, you know, if your sandals, if you know a sandals, especially with the toe bit, you know, and the tongue of the sandals is unstuck. I imagine that's what Moses had. And, you know, she says, take off that because there are holes on the ground, and basically it's the same with the mouth. It's the hole and you have the tongue in the mouth. It's all there, as above so below. Okay, all right, but basically, well, there's so much more to that. I hope you have enjoyed this, and this is the love letter. So the love letter, we done the numerical value for letter, which equals 8 as well. So 8 is the 8 petal star hair or flower, and we have that as 10. Of course, talking about 10, maybe that's what Mother Eve wanted me to that's where I'm tripping, because the tongue, she wants to remind me that the tongue, TONGUE, equals 10. Wow. Yes, Mother Eve, you are really funny. I love you. So this is 5, 3, 7, 5, 6, 2. And I'm going on about Moses, and she's saying, no, I want you to pay attention. Okay, so this is 15, 20, 26, 27, 28. 2 plus 8 is 10. That's what Mother Eve is wanting to tell me. So, and of course, so that's the tongue, which is 10, is in the mouth, which is 5. Mouth. Wow. Mother Eve is really getting me to. So mouth, MOUTH, 8, 2, 2, 3, 6, 4. So this is 10, 20, 3. So 2 plus 3 is 5. So we see now. Tell me, Mother Eve, about the 2 now. Tell me about 2. So we have seen how L is 10. We have seen how it is 3. We have seen how it is 6. So we have seen how it is 1. We have seen how it is 2. We have seen how it is 3. We have seen how not 4. Although if we see 6, we also see 4, because when we do the numerical value for 4 is 9, 3, 6, 6. When we add this together, 9 and 9, 18, 19, 20, 2 plus 4 is 6. So basically 6 is 4 in this sense. And 2, okay, let's do the numerical value for 2. We'll see what Mother Eve is saying here, because T is the numerical value of 2. So 2, 5, 6. Okay, now 6 plus 5 is 11, and 2, 12, 13. 1, 3, this is where we see 3 is here, of course. This is where the bonding is happening. And so in saying letters, because again the 13 is really representing Christ and the disciples. So we see this is like the stamp in the word let itself is like the whole message of what we are meant to achieve. Dying of the self like Christ did. Taking off our sandals like Moses had to. Shedding our skin of that like the serpent, to really attaining and completing our cycles of this from the sack, overcoming the reef, paying our dues in that cold state. It's no wonder we know that the states that are really ruling and controlling are all of ice nature, cold nature. They all have a degree of coldness in their nature. So we can see how the sack and the reef and the ice, how we need to mellow or merge the temperatures so we can survive and flourish and get back into being another renewing ourselves as 8-petal flowers. So the letter is really the flower in essence, the 8-petal flower. You get it. I think Mother Eve is trying to tell me something more, but anyway, let's conclude on this one, and do join me again. I think Mother Eve has much more to tell me on that love letter. Thank you. Please, before I say please and plead, let me thank you for joining us. Let me thank you for stopping by. Let me thank you for your intended or much anticipated sharing of the Crime Queen videos, and do join us again. Now, of course, we are flowers, but we need wonderful grounds to keep emerging and flourishing. So this is where we are planting new seeds on this field. So be bliss filled, be ignited, because we are planting new seeds, and spill over with love.